Testing. 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 Ah. Testing. Well, test. Hello again from Tarot Temple. We're going to do another live stream from in this mystical, magical, mysterious, madcap world of tarot. It's the day before Thanksgiving, so I guess it'll be Thanksgiving tarot readings in general. All right. All right. Hello from Tarot Temple. The day before Thanksgiving in the United States, we're going to do a set of tarot readings if anyone would like them. And they will probably have a lot to do with the general idea of Thanksgiving coming tomorrow. But anyway, this is Tarot Temple, and I am Cymaxion in Altspace VR, live streaming on Twitch. The audio sounds much better tonight than it did last night. I think I've worked out how to stream from Altspace using a separate track for the audio. It seems to be working. I'm quite impressed. I'll probably put together an instructional page on the web for how to do it, how to create a live stream. Because the important thing about live streaming and having good video without dropouts and glitches is that, many streamers want that video on Twitch to be exported over to YouTube, and they want so it can be kept and looked at by their audience. So that's important to have good sound. And I was noticing in live streams from the 2 prior evenings that my voice coming from my VR headset and working its way through the system and back into the avatar here that's filming the event was kind of going, it was like the voice would be like, it would go in and out. And that's not good. It's irritating. I mean, it wasn't all the time, but it was enough to be irritating. So I think this is a solution. I will certainly know after the next hour. There's no one here yet. People are probably traveling for Thanksgiving. So it's probably not going to be a big VR event evening, We'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 visitors, I think. Anyway, for the purposes of this stream, though, I have a reading up on the big screen. And let me get a laser pointer so that I can make this clearer what is going on in this reading. So, okay. So what we have going on here for the evening before Thanksgiving is a 3-card reading, and you see the Tower, the 9 of Swords, and lastly, the Hanged Man, Le Pendu. So what happens here is you have this general sort of suggestion, this idea of tumult and sudden catastrophic. Hi, how are you? I was just doing a general reading for the stream audience for the evening before Thanksgiving. Just sort of a general thing. Hopefully you can hear me. Oh, good. Okay. So the Tower represents this sense of kind of tumultuous upheaval that creates, it unsettles things. And a lot of people going into a holiday like Thanksgiving, they get this sort of sense of there's a lot of chaotic activity. There's, who's coming to the dinner, who's gonna say something, irritating. There's all sorts of conflict and stuff that people deal with in families or groups for Thanksgiving. That's not always true, but this is something you hear about a lot. So this kind of card of this, and the other thing about this card, it's not just chaos and tumult in a social sense, but it also implies kind of coming down off your pedestal, like these pedestals here around the world, these tall things. You're up there, you're feeling, you're in your normal routine, you maybe have a big job and you're impressive and you feel really good about things. But then Thanksgiving comes along and you're like, oh my God, I got to go back and hang out with my family. And oh God, they don't even understand what it is I'm doing. And well, this card is saying, hey man, just come down off your tower, your gilded tower. We know it's it's stressful around holidays, but whatever, just get over it and let's get ready for the holiday. And look for all the benefits and things that come out of all this joyful chaos around a holiday. Just, you can see these guys aren't particularly upset about falling. They look like they're kind of searching around for the the balls of energy that are coming out of all of this and falling to the ground. So they're going to make some use out of it and get something good out of it. Now, this tumult and chaos leads us, or that feeling of it, leads us into this kind of thought cage, the swords, the 9 in the middle, this kind of crisis of belief and thought and conflict and argument. This could quite simply represent the table, the Thanksgiving table, or the day, and all of these people and all their conflicting opinions all going at each other, yelling and arguing and fighting and getting emotional. And you know how families can be. It's not all just, oh, would you pass me the gravy? And so that's what this is. The 9 is saying, hey, just you're almost there. You can get through it. You can deal with it. You can do this. It's also a little overwhelming, yes. But then the relief comes on the right with the Hanged Man card. And that card is saying, essentially, don't let your ego drive you in this. Drop it. Let it go. Be with your people. Be with these people, some of whom you're irritated by, and just hang out, literally, pun intended, and just be sort of easy and let things develop, and new things will come up. New opportunities will grow out of relationships you make. That's why the Hanged Man's head is literally planting itself in the ground, below ground level. That's to indicate taking this thought energy that's kind of overwhelming and it's kind of getting you all wound up, and it's saying, yeah, you know what? Let's come down to earth, quite literally, and put our big, fat, operating, overheating brain down in the soil and plant it like a mushroom or something and let it germinate, and let's see what comes. So just take it easy and relax and enjoy what there is. That's the basic idea when you get over here to the Hanged Man. Let go of your grasping and you're trying to, don't pretend to be anything. Don't pretend to be bigger than you are, more important. Just let all that drop. Let your defenses down. And you'll see what results from all that. So all of this chaos and expectation and, this warning to let your ego, fall away because, crises always do that to us. And then the 9 with all this overwhelming thought and conflict and argument that we have to get through, and then just let it go. So there you have it. Hi, how are you? I was just doing a general reading for the stream audience, Jamarli. How are you? But I'm here to do actual readings. So you are the first person.
They're free?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the event. Yeah.
They be charging.
Well, they can't charge in AltSpace, though, can they?
I just mean in general.
Yeah. I don't think in AltSpace they have a system for charging. Probably, since Microsoft owns AltSpace, they'll probably eventually come up with a way to do that, to say, hey, click this button here to PayPal, $20 over here, and then I'll do your whatever. Mm-hmm. But no, for what I did is I set this world up to do events because I think they kind of enjoy having something of substance that they can that's new and they can learn from. And I think that if you do that, you give people that information, I think then that they'll come back at some point, and you know what I mean, they might tell other people, hey, this works or this is cool. So I think that's the way to do things.
To each his own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you want a reading about anything, what I was doing right now was I was saying this reading, these 3 cards are for sort of preparing for the Thanksgiving holiday. Uh, I don't know if you're in the U.S. or not, but in the U.S. it's the night before Thanksgiving,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
so so I was like, how people sometimes get nervous about getting together with family. A lot of people, a lot of arguments break out in families. They disagree with each other, like you haven't seen this or that uncle in like a year, and, so I was saying, basically, this reading is just for that kind of idea.
Okay.
But if you
Grounding
want
me
a
kind of.
reading, what you do is you ask your question,
Definitely.
and then I will do a thing that randomizes the cards, and you'll see three new cards will show up here, and then I'll just do your reading. Is there
Okay. Sounds
anything
good.
you you know?
Um. Well, I'm preparing for a move next
Okay,
month, and I just want to see if things are in my favor for it. Am I going to be secured or protected on my journey? Things like
okay,
that.
that makes perfect sense to me. All right, so give me a number from 1
Is
to
that real?
10. Oh no, that is the camera. That's just he's just standing there for visual for the stream so that we can
Mm.
capture the image. But he's not gonna
This is
he's not yeah,
recording.
he's not gonna ask any questions, don't worry. that
Peace, God, peace,
that's
peace
our
from
that's
Hawaii.
basically what we call our Twitch guy.
Okay.
Okay, so let me change these cards for you. Pick a number from 1 to 10. 2.
Two.
Okay, I'll change them 2 times. Hang on. 1, 2. Okay, so we're talking about a move coming up. Let me turn on my
Okay.
laser. Now, okay, so these cards are all number cards, which means that these what they suggest in this reading isn't long term, which is probably a good thing for a move, since moves, once you're done, you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So the number cards are sort of short term. They don't really indicate big huge things that are going to be you're going to be stuck with for a long time. They're very sort of temporary. So what you have here on the left is something you want to basically understand that's already kind of done and there, and you have it and you can rely on it, and you don't have to like really worry about it. And the center card is something that the reading wants you to know now and to think about like today or tomorrow. And the card on the right is what you want to go for, is kind of what you want to move toward. Okay, so on the left, something you're already kind of got, that's a given, is a 6 of swords, and the swords are the cards representing everything you think, that you know, that you understand. It's all your mental capacity, all of your intellect and your belief systems and your ability to deal with conflict. That's why the sword.
Okay.
So how you resolve conflicts, how you debate people, how you debate ideas, and you have someone disagrees with you, and you say no this, and how you deal with all of that kind of intellectual. Sometimes conflict, sometimes it's just simply using your intellect to get work done. And that 6 is a number of attraction, magnetic pleasure, harmony, getting along, social. It implies having a happy, sort of an easygoing, nice, enjoyable life where people are getting along and are syncing up, and they're all like, hey, let's do it. Yep, I agree. Let's do it. Let's do this, this, and this. And it all seems to be clicking. And so you have people somewhere around you that may work with you this way. And you know that that is something you can always kind of go back to. You always know you have people like that
A backbone kind
somewhere.
of I can fall
Yeah.
on.
And that 6 represents that solid, nice feeling of dependable, and it has to do
Mm.
mainly with the realm of putting ideas into effect and getting things done. So you've got that somewhere around you. It could be purely internal. You're the best person to know that, but somewhere you know you've got this. Now that brings us to the middle card that's saying, "Oh, okay, now make sure you keep this in mind." And that's the same swords, but it's jumping up to the 9. So we're going from 6 of swords to 9 of swords. Now the 9 of swords is implying things are going to get hard. There's going to be a lot to figure out. There's going to be a lot of head work to do, a lot of thinking, a lot of organizational stuff. But it's going to occupy your mind, and it's going to seem very oppressive. It's going to seem like too much. It's going to seem like overwhelming. And that's what the 9 is about, because the 9 is about things being overwhelming, but you're almost there. You're almost over the top, and you have to put that last bit of super effort in order to get there, to get to the 10th card, which is the end of the cycle. So that 9 is there for a reason, because it's like, okay, yeah, it's understood that things are hard. We know that. You got to keep it. You got to keep going. You got to fall back on that 6, those people, that harmony, somewhere that you know you can rely on, and you got to push through to the end. And what that brings you to is over here on the right, where all of a sudden you've got this big 10 of cups coming out of everything. And the 10 is the end of a cycle. It's the completion of something. And the cups represent your heart and your feeling, love. And what the 10 implies is this real sort of overflowing and abundance. You achieve something, you break through something, perhaps here with the 9, and you figure it out, and you get through, and you go, "Ah, wow, I didn't realize how great this was going to make me feel. Oh my God, now I'm ready for the next thing." That's what that 10 is. That 10 is like, holy crap, I have all of this. This feels great. This feels so great that now I can take all of this energy and do something new, the next thing I want to do. So I suspect that for a move, this is something that works out. That for a move
correlates with
yeah,
it.
because you know that moves can get difficult, and what this is saying here is, yes, it's going to get difficult, or it already is because of this 9. Let me get this thing again. Because of this 9, but all indications show that this incredible good feeling, an emotional sort
There's
of
going to be a reward
that,
at the end.
yeah,
of it.
at the end of it is waiting. Yeah. So
Push through that final gap.
that
last
final
victory
lap,
By
yes.
then,
Yes. And then it's that, see, this 10 of cups is sort of like, exactly. If you think of it as the final lap, and the runner finishes the race at the Olympics, and they go, and they fall to the track, and they're like, and they're like tears of joy, and they're like, oh my God, I did it. Well, that's what that 10 of cups is. Yeah, that's what it is.
testament to how far just the accomplishment, the manifestation of things, the achievement of that manifestation.
Yep.
Makes sense. I like it.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Yes. And now, anyone who wants a reading, since some people showed up here, you can click the button for raising your hand, and then that will put you.
Please do. He's very good.
Yeah. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, Jamarli, and it was good reading for you.
Thank you very much.
Let me see. Okay, we do have Scoot. Scoot just raised. There. Okay, you can come on over here. And what did I do?
Thank you.
Hi, Scoot. Okay.
Hi.
So what we do here is, when you ask a question, for your reading. I will randomize the cards whatever number of times you tell me to, and you will see them on screen, and then I will simply give you your reading. It's that simple. So give me your question, and then I'll ask you to pick a number from 1 to 10.
Will I ever be successful?
Okay. I would like to know the same thing about myself. So, okay. Let me now pick a number from 1 to 10. Okay,
4.
hang on one sec. Let me change these cards 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, dude. Okay, right away, I'm sure you noticed the card on the right. Okay. In general, what effect does that card have?
I don't know.
What do you first think of? There you
Love.
go. You got it. Okay. Now, I just sort of wanted to get a feel for that because that's like the perfect word. Okay. So now you've got 3 cards. And the card on the left is basically something that you've got. It's kind of set, you know, already, or you have in your power or your possession, and you don't have to really fret about it or worry about it. You can kind of depend on it. That's the card on the left. The card in the middle is something you need to think about right away in the next day or two, just something you want to keep in the front of your mind. And the card on the right is something you're coming to, is something that's you're going for and it's coming up soon. Okay? Now, this 4 of cups on the left, this is the symbol of the heart, of love, of feeling, any kind of feeling you have for yourself, for other people, for a loved one. It's all in the cup, the heart symbol. And the 4 represents solidity and stability and strength and security, dependable foundation. So you know you have somewhere a dependable, solid foundation of love, of feeling. It could be your family. It could be someone you're in a relationship with. But there's somewhere something you have that you can remind yourself of, that you can always depend on. Okay? That's what that 4 of cups is trying to remind you of. And will you ever be a success? Well, this cups thing is saying whether or not you're a success or you feel that you're a success is almost irrelevant, because you always have this solid, secure, strong heart somewhere in your life that's always there for you, like a net under a trapeze artist or something. Now that brings us to the middle section, which is the swords, and it's a 6, and the swords are the element of air, of thinking, of using your mind and applying it to solving problems and debating and arguing, any kind of detail work, anything. You're writing a paper, you're drawing an engineering plan, or you're arguing a case in a courtroom, or you're studying, anything where you have to apply knowledge and intellect to. And this is a 6, and the 6 is the symbol of being able to enjoy and attract others, or attract other ideas, but it has a general sense of magnetic quality. It brings other things and people closer, and they have easy communication, and they share easily, but the main thing is they enjoy it. And the process is very sort of productive intellectually here. So there's something coming for you, or something that you may think about going toward, that involves detailed thinking, that involves intellect, the application of intellect, and the ability to work with others very well, and appreciate them. That's what this card is saying. Keep that primary in mind, because it is a very powerful thing and will take you to the right, the final card here. It will take you to what you just said, that word love. And it's expressed in this card as love and joy and playfulness and fun, but really sort of flourishing in the world. And you see these two, they could be partners in a business. They are very childish, but there's a playful quality. They're kind of like kids on the beach having a fabulous time on the hottest day of the summer, body surfing the waves and stuff. And they are kind of out there baking in the sun and probably going too far, too overboard. They're getting too sunburned. But the fact is they're forgetting everything else except the fact that they are enjoying themselves out here in this blistering sun. And it's radiating all kinds of energy. You can see the colored drops of energy coming down to them, creating all this energy. So that's what you need to keep in mind, is you've got this solidly dependable feeling for what it is you do, solid kind of knowing of your heart and what you love to do, and moving into this kind of harmonious working with other people and working with your mind and loving it, seeking the path of intellect that you most enjoy. And that brings you to this love and joy and pleasure in the sun final card. So it's a very positive road that you see here. Yeah. So I think the answer is clear. So you're very
Thanks.
welcome. Yeah.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Let me see who has a raised hand. Zandy, 69. Zandy, where are you? Let me find where you are. Whoop. Zandy. Is Zandy still here?
Right there, bro. Right behind you. She's a little loose screws. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
there's
The
Zandy.
green one.
Okay.
Look.
Zandy, it's your
Come on,
turn.
Zandy, behind you. Over here.
Zandy.
Yeah. Oh,
What are you doing
Right
over
there.
here?
hello.
Holy shit.
Hi.
Who am I talking to?
Hi, Zandy.
Oh, hey.
So would you like a reading?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Said yes. Yes, please.
Okay, so ask me your question.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, put on the spot. What's gonna happen?
I'm sorry?
What's gonna happen?
What's going to happen?
What's gonna happen?
Well, well, I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a reading.
Oh, no, but that was my question.
So it's a kind of a general question. So let's say kind of what can you sort of expect to maybe see in the next little while? Let's maybe like the next few days.
I see this man behind you.
Oh, that's okay.
Go back. Thank you.
If there's someone behind me, that's fine.
Um,
Okay.
um,
All right.
Take your time. Not like people's
I'm
waiting.
so nervous. Okay, can you take my friend next? I'm so sorry. I'm so.
Oh, it's okay. You can be nervous. Give me a
Oh,
number.
no.
Give me a number from 1
What
to
type of
10.
question?
Okay,
7.
I'm going to change. Look at the screen, and I'm going to change the card 7 times. 1,
Behind you.
2,
Oh,
3,
She's not the brightest.
4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's your reading. Now I'm going to mute people so that we don't get a bunch of feedback. And I'm about to start your reading.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, 3 cards. The card on the left represents basically something that you have that you can fall back on, that you don't have to worry too much about. The card in the middle is something to think about, like now, like to kind of ponder today. And the card on the right is where you're headed. Okay? So the card on the left is a big two of swords, and the swords are your mind. They're your thoughts, your thinking, the way you handle any kind of intellectual effort. And the two is basically saying that things are coming together for you, that you bring the pieces together that you need, and you're preparing to do something. You're preparing your thoughts, your mind. You could be learning something new, perhaps, but at any rate, it suggests that your mind is getting ready for a new step. Some kind of new awareness is coming, and you have an ability to do these, to bring various factors together in careful preparation before you take action. So this is something that you can rely on, it's an ability you have. Okay? Now, in the middle, you have this very important card, which is basically saying strength. And this woman in the card is somehow able to control and master very irrational and unknown forces, natural forces. This animal represents all of this sort of chaos in the world, things we don't understand. And so that works very much together with the Two of Swords, because the Two of Swords, as I said, is you're able mentally to put things together and prepare yourself for something you need to do or understand. Well, that central card is your basic personality of strength and its ability to handle wild concepts, wild things that freak other people out and disturb them. And they're like, oh, no, we can't go there. Well, you're the lady there that goes, oh, I can. And so this kind of ability and energy leads you forward. And this is the same card that we had here in the same spot for the reading I just did. It's the Sun, and it's the card of joy and growth and fun and pleasure and friendship. So your ability to handle all these weird ideas and forces that kind of worry other people gets you in the end toward life that's kind of fun and gets people all having a good time, basically. That's kind of what the reading is saying. So I just unmuted everyone. So that's a pretty positive reading.
Oh yeah, I love positive.
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
You're the man.
You're welcome.
Thank
Yep.
you so much.
Let me see now who has
You have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Let me see.
All right, let's
I
go.
like you.
Okay. Faded Spice. Faded Spice is up.
Oh, that's me.
Faded Spice, where are you? Oh, here you are.
Right here.
I got you. Okay. All right, Faded Spice, come on over.
All right.
And the idea now is
Yeah.
you ask your question, you set the subject matter, and I will change the cards for you.
A question about like anything or what I want to know or what's the...
Basically anything. Now, the tarot readings don't really say, oh, the bus is going to be late tomorrow. It's not going to be there at 10, it's going to be there at 11. It doesn't do stuff like that. It just gives you things to think
Right.
about that are like, it basically says, hey, keep this in mind, basically.
All right. I guess I want to know, my question would be, I want to know what's going to happen to my romantic relationship next week.
Okay, so to your existing romantic relationship, and how's it kind of gonna play out next week? Okay,
Yes.
give me a number from 1 to 10.
I'll do 3.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to change the cards 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me get my pointer again. I like using this laser pointer. Okay. Card on the left. This is something you got that you can rely on, you can fall back on. You don't have to put too much worry into it. Card in the middle, something to really sort of think about right now. And the card on the right is where things are headed. Okay? So, we're thinking about your relationship, and that's interesting because right away on the left here we get the cups, which are the heart. They are the love card. They are everything you feel.
Okay.
Every and this is, this 8 indicates typically a balance and perfection. So there's something about your feeling, your heart, your emotional life, something involved in this subject that you've expressed, where there's a very perfect sort of a thing. It's a very balanced thing. And what the card is telling you there is that exists and you can rely on that. You know that's there. You don't have to fear that.
Okay.
That's something that's very, very dependable. Now, that being said, it then says, okay, now I just want you to keep this in mind as an important factor right now to build on. And that's the King of Swords. And the swords are putting your head to work. The swords are dealing with conflict. And what this card is saying is this king is a very calm, very sure, stable person.
I see you.
And he's able, I'm going to have to mute everybody. So he's able to he's able to deal with problems and conflicts and arguments in a very calm, measured way and get results without being harsh. I mean, he's not a harsh king. He's sort of sitting there. He almost looks like he'd rather be all over like petting the dog. You know what I mean? He's just not too, he doesn't look like a brutal sort of a dictatorial king. He's just very measured and easygoing in the realm of his ability to think things through and come up with solutions that are positive. So the card is saying, be this guy. Be this calm, assertive, gentle, even-handed person in dealing with any form of argument. And that brings you further over here to yet more mastery, more kingly, calm, authoritative behavior, but again in the realm of the heart, the cups. And this is the king now saying, oh, I know more about how to master my feelings now. Because I paid attention and I thought things through, or I talked things through, over here with this calm king in the middle, because I paid attention to that advice, I ended up over here really knowing a heck of a lot more about my own feelings and the feelings inside this relationship in general between the two of us. So the basic idea here is very simple. Trust that there's this perfect balanced love and behave in a very sort of calm and measured way without being impulsive. So that's what the cards are telling you. And I believe that the message there is that kind of thing will make whatever happens next week positive. I think that's how it goes. Now I'm going to unmute. So there you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hopefully it turns out positive. Thank you.
Yes. And that's actually really good advice. I know this advice from friends and myself and everything with relationships when you don't know quite where things are going to go. It's
Mm.
always the best advice a friend can give, which is basically, hey man, don't don't argue. Don't get all don't
Yeah.
get all full of
Calm.
yourself and be calm and just kind of listen.
Yeah, I feel
You don't
that.
see these two kings waving the sword around in people's faces. They're just kind of there ready to listen.
It's
Yeah.
chilling. Yeah.
So there you have it.
Well,
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
All right, let's see. There's Lee. Lee has a hand raised.
Where should we go next?
Hey, way to go.
Where's Lee? Lee, hi, how are you?
Hi.
So, all you have to do is
So-
ask whatever question you think is good, and then I'll make the cards do their thing, and you'll have a reading.
Okay. Where will I be in my journey within a year?
Oh boy! So it's a reading for basically
too
over a
general?
year. That's good. Okay, so we're taking the long view, which is
Yes.
good. No more short-term thinking for this company. You know how they're always saying all these
No.
companies and corporations are always taking the short-term view and they should take the longer-term view and all that. Well, that's what we're doing on a personal level. We're going to take the long-term. Okay, now give me a number from 1 to 10. Okay,
6.
hang
Did you
on.
hear me?
I'm going to change the card 6 times.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
It's actually
4,
3.
5, 6. Okay.
It's actually 7. I think you did. It's actually 7.
Well, sometimes they
Excellent.
flicker. Sometimes the randomizer flickers, but it actually settles on an option. So as long as we only click the button 6 times
Okay.
is what counts. Okay. Now I'm going to mute people so I don't get audio feedback. And I'll do your reading. Now here, 3 cards. And on the left is a card that basically says, don't worry about this. You've got this. It's dependable and dealt with, and you can move on from there and come into the present moment in the middle card, where the cards are saying, hey, keep this in mind. And if you do, it leads you over here to this final kind of destination. Okay, so here on the left, and by the way, your reading is the first reading in the last 3 days that has had all major cards. 3 major cards. It's very rare to get that from a randomization. But, so that means they're big, which is good for us. Since we're doing a reading basically over the term of a year, it's good to have big cards because they're kind of deeper. This card on the left, often people kind of refer to it incorrectly as the death card. It's actually in this Tarot de Marseille deck, this Italian-French deck. It's actually the nameless card. And if you look at this card a little bit more carefully than most people do, you'll see that he or she is actually more of a farmer than anything else. The scythe is being used to till the earth for the next crop. Now, he's shoving a bunch of heads and hands and bones and feet down in, yes, because there is a death aspect to this card. What it means is there's the death of something. Something is being changed. Something is being ended or eliminated, but it's being used to encourage and fertilize our own future growth. And so what this card is saying to you is whatever that may be that's done and dealt with, that you've had to deal with and put away, that energy, that dead and done with aspect of your situation or your personality or relationships, whatever that is, you are pushing it into the soil of your life, of your emotional life, and in preparation to use it to make everything that comes next richer. Okay? So that's what that card says. And it says you have this ability and you've done it before and you can rely on it. That's why it's on the left. So you rely on that ability to prepare yourself for future growth out of turmoil and upsetting change. Okay? You turn negatives into positives, basically. And that brings you to the next stage, which is something much more sort of that has to stay in the forefront of your mind over the next year. That's why it's in the middle. And this is the justice card. And justice is very measured. That's why she has a scale. All representations of justice, at least in the US, tend to have scales of justice and all that stuff. And that's for a reason, because it's a balance. You weigh arguments and you try to be fair and you try to measure things so that everybody is treated fairly with justice. Everybody gets their due. And of course she also has a sword, because justice can be harsh. And it's also intellect. The sword is intellect. Justice has to be able to get to the facts, to think things through and do things carefully and be accurate and get all of the facts. So justice has to have great knowledge, great understanding. Wisdom has to be in justice so that balance can be achieved. So what this card is saying to you is these qualities you need to depend on. You need to take a very measured, calm, careful approach to everything you do over the course of that year, to be this even-handed person that makes everything work out in the end for people by being fair. It's like being a really great manager. You're able to say, I know you're upset and I know you're upset and you're both fighting, and here is a way to make you both happy. Win-win. That's where the win-win. There's a win on one scale and a win on the other scale. That's what justice is able to do. So it's saying keep that right in the front, like a little sticker on your refrigerator. And that brings you over the course of time to the Lover card. Now, the Lover card, you think of typically for relationships, because it seems to involve a relationship. Now, this can be, your question is very general about a year. So it could involve work, it could involve school, it could involve relationships, it could involve really anything that happens to be most important for you over this next year. I really don't know that. But what this card is leaning toward is making decisions that affect feeling and listening very carefully to what your heart, what your true feeling and what your love is telling you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship. It can be your love for what you do. But it's saying, and because there are three people there, the three always implies that there's some sort of a decision to make. Many folks think that the two people here, like the guy and this woman, are together, and maybe this is either a third woman, a second woman, or like the mom of one of them, and there's some kind of a conflict, and there's a decision to be made, like who's going to end up with whom, that kind of thing. But you can take these symbols and say, well, okay, they're maybe not about a relationship, they're about my job. I might have a job offer over here, and I might have another one over there, and I really love this one here, and I don't know about that one, but I have to kind of decide. And this card is basically saying, you've got to listen to what your heart really tells you. Where do you feel best? What just instinctively makes you feel happy? And that card is saying that's what you need to know. So you've got, over this course of a year, you've got this ability to turn negative and learn from it and turn negative into future growth over here. Here, you've got balance and wisdom and fairness and the ability to work with people and make things resolve themselves equitably. And over here, you've got listening to your heart, because that is going to lead you ultimately to the primary development over the course of your next year. And it could be romantic or work, but there will be a decision to make, and you will be very well prepared to make it because of these past, the energies of these past cards here. So I think that's pretty, I mean, I'm pretty impressed that there are 3 major cards in the reading. That's perfect. They kind of basically suggest, the major cards suggest they'll have the energy to last over the course of the year. So let me unmute. There, unmuted. So there you go.
Thank you so much. I believe this. That was so great.
Yeah, it's just, basically the tarot is like, what to sort of keep in mind. Doesn't predict an exact thing. It just kind of says, hey, this is kind of where you kind of want to look. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you.
I'm going to check now because I have a hand. Zed has a hand raised.
Very nice.
So, Lee, thank you for
I'm trying to move.
Zed. Oh, there's Zed. There he is.
Yep. I'm
How
here.
are you?
Sorry. I was listening in the other room. Oh, good.
So the idea here is you ask the question and I tell the cards to change, and then all of a sudden your reading pops out.
Okay. I'm looking at how are my investments pretty short term going to turn out within the next week or next month, perhaps.
Okay.
I got some crypto investments, so I'm trying to see.
Oh,
how
that
that's
stuff's
gonna
fun.
work
Yeah,
out.
I know crypto. That's really fun stuff. It's
Yeah.
very scary, though. Now, you have to
Yeah.
remember,
It
let me
is.
just tell you, dude, I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Okay,
get
so
that.
what this is
I-
going to say
That's fine.
is basically kind of what to keep in mind about this kind of general idea. But yeah, crypto is kind of cool with Coinbase and all that stuff. It's like, it's
Oh,
scary
yeah.
because you look at those little
Awesome.
charts with the lines going up, and then 2 hours later the line is going down. I know.
It's heart-wrenching.
I know totally what you're talking about.
Roller coaster.
Okay, so pick a number from 1
For
to
sure.
10.
I don't know. I was thinking about 10.
There you go. Let's do it then. If you're thinking about 10, then that's the number. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to put people on mute, so because audio feedback can be real pain. Okay. So here we go. And left card. It's a wands card. Wands are the fire of creativity, energy. This is something you've got that is kind of there, and it's a force in you that you don't have to worry too much about. And the middle card is something to keep right there in the front of your head about this investment kind of life. And this on the right is something you're coming to, that's coming up over the next week or so. And and the subject, of course, is investments in crypto. Now, on the left, you've got the page, the valet de bâton. He's like the young, naive, but learning and enthusiastic person who represents a lot of us where crypto is concerned, because we're like, what the hell is this? I don't understand how this. This is wild. It's cool, but I don't get. Am I going to lose my shirt? What should I do? Should I just experiment and put like $50 here, or should I be like all the articles say by these like whiz kids? Should I put a lot of money in and become like a bazillionaire in 6 months? You know, and you get all enthusiastic, but then you get nervous and you don't know quite what to do. Well, that is what this card is showing. That's exactly what the page does. He's young. He's diving into the world. Maybe he's like just gotten out of college, but he doesn't know. But he wants to know. And so he's learning really rapidly. And the wands are the fire of like creativity. They're the thing that make you want to jump in and do stuff. If you want to invest, or if you want to build, or whatever it is, it's that energy that makes you all excited to do it. You know, like you read article, you're scrolling through your phone and you're reading all these cool articles from Forbes and Barron's and all this, and you're like, oh, it's that feeling. That's what the wands represent. And so this guy is learning, and he's like, look at his face. Does he look worried? He doesn't look worried to me. He looks like, hey man, I don't care. This is cool. So he's like, and this card is saying, that's there. That's in you. Enjoy it. Now, over here in the middle, it's saying, oh, but things can get a little nerve-wracking because we're hitting you with the 5 of cups, and the cups are your feeling. The cups are emotional reactions in your heart. And the 5 is always the number of something that comes in suddenly and worries you. And it's sudden change, which is frankly almost like funny because it's perfect for crypto, because you can get on Coinbase and put $100 on something and go, ooh, look, it just went up to 102. Whoa, I'm like doing really well. And you go and you have lunch and you come back and it says $49. Oh my God, I had 102 and now I have 49. And well, that's what that 5 is about. That 5 is like, this is new, unsettling territory, and it gets our emotions all wound up, and we don't know quite how to handle it, and we get upset and nervous. And that 5 of cups is basically saying, we understand that. We know that happens. But so that's your heart. That's feelings. They come and they go, just like crypto goes up and it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, whatever. It's kind of suggesting that, it's kind of just saying, you're going to have these feelings. But if you maintain this enthusiasm over here on the left, this creative energy, if you maintain that learning mindset and keep learning, you lead yourself over here, and suddenly you see a card representing money and work and like everything you own and have, everything you attain, all your things that sustain you, which include money. And there's the king of coins. And the king is very sort of, yeah, I'm a king. Well, you know, I did this myself. I know all my stuff. I'm like pretty darn good at what I do. And I'm pretty comfortable. Because look at me. I'm kind of holding this coin down here on my knee, kind of casually, like, yeah, it's just one of a bunch of others. So this king, by virtue of the fact that he's not overly excitable, he doesn't get bogged down in the disturbance of the 5 of Cups card. He knows that his heart, his feelings are going to go up and down. He knows that. And so he maintains this calm, centered kind of manner, which in many cases, in the investment world, being calm and measured and not reacting quickly to things is actually the way over the long haul to make money, at least according to everything I've ever read and experienced. So that measured, calm guy who has learned an immense amount since being the page over here on the left. He has learned an immense amount because he's mastered his emotions and he's settled them. And so that has apparently had a positive effect on his well-being and his financial life over here, because that is the card representing the coins. So it's actually incredibly appropriate for your question, I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's
you're
really
very
cool.
welcome.
Can I ask you a side
Sure.
question? As a reader that's interested in
Yeah.
tarot, how do you best consecrate your cards?
Well, you know, they say all kinds of things about cards, like you should never get your own pack of cards. Somebody should give you your pack of cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but that's, look, if the world worked that way, then nobody would have any tarot cards, really. You know what I mean? You have to be enthusiastic, like that page over there. You have to be able to go into a store and go, oh my gosh, I love that deck of cards. That's so cool. That caught my eye. I want that. Now, you know, consecrating a deck of cards is a very personal thing. And you can do it in all kinds of ways. Like you can say, okay, I'm going to open this deck in a certain way, very slowly. I'm going to not shuffle it for a while. I'm going to put it in my special box. You know, I'm going to put like some certain, like if you're into crystals, you might put them in there with it. You know, the little things that really, when you talk about consecrating an object, what you're really doing is a psychological thing. You're really consecrating yourself, ultimately. You're giving yourself a way of relating to that deck of cards. So you're making the magic in you and how you handle that deck of cards. And remember the fascinating thing about a deck of tarot cards. This is the most fascinating aspect of all, I think. You have 78 cards in a deck of tarot, which means mathematically that when you shuffle a deck of tarot cards, that arrangement of the cards after you shuffle has never happened anywhere in the universe before and never will again, because the mathematical odds are too great. Even if you ran supercomputers for 10 billion years round the clock using software to shuffle 78 card decks, they would not repeat any particular shuffle for billions of years. So when you pick that deck up after you buy it and you shuffle it, you have to shuffle it well, of course, so that, because they always put them in order when they're in the box. You shuffle it, shuffle it, shuffle it, mix it all up. Whatever that arrangement ends up being in your hand with the whole deck of 78 cards has never existed for anyone through all of time before. And the same is true of a regular deck of playing cards, like for poker. It's still, the math is still on that same scale. It's a little less, but you're talking about billions and billions of years of calculations required to try to reproduce a shuffle. So that all by itself, I think, is fascinating about a deck of cards. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you can basically come up with your own consecration out of your own head, and whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you. What's the important thing is if you feel that you should do a consecration, then consecration is important because it's important to you. And so you do it in a way that makes you feel best. Now, you could read in a book about how to do it. Some people say leave it out in the moonlight for a night or a few nights, that's a beautiful idea. And if you like that, you do it. But if you like something else, like somebody else might say, no, you don't have to leave it in the moonlight. Leave it, like burn a candle for a few hours near it and put a special cloth over it or something. You know, anything that makes you feel like you've made something sort of magical that you know. And then, yeah.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there are really no
Thank you
rules.
so
There are
much.
no
That's really
rules in tarot. Sometimes people try to make it seem like there are, but you know,
Yeah.
it's like
No,
they
that's
can.
great.
They're welcome to make.
you're-
They can
you're
make
great.
rules up if
You're
they
great.
want to. That's fine. Who cares? But you know.
Yeah.
So,
Wonderful.
okay, so
Thank you
it's
so much for your time.
you're absolutely
Appreciate that.
welcome. I have to end the event now because the time has come, and I have to. I literally have to jump in a car and
Sure.
drive. But
Understandable.
thank you all for coming, and I've been doing these now. I've done them 3 nights in a row, so I'm gonna go off for Thanksgiving, but I'm amazed at how consistent it's gone. So I'm gonna keep doing them. So you're all welcome to come
great.
back
Yeah, I love it.
anytime you like.
I was hoping to get a reading real quick.
Well, I can't. I know. Oh, yes, Bob. Hi, welcome back. I have to jump in my car. I'm sorry.
Hi.
I'm gonna have to run. I've gone a little over
That's
time.
fine.
Good to see you back here, though.
It was good to see you too. I was hoping me and you could hang out.
Well, I will next time. After Thanksgiving, you come in here and hang out, and I will spend extra time. I'll make sure I can hang out afterwards. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So I'll see everybody later.
I'm looking
Safe
for.
travels.
I'm looking for friends.
Safe
Okay. Have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.